At my retirement party, I watched my son's wife pour a clear liquid into my drink. I switched it with her mother's when no one was looking. Next thing, her mother collapsed and my son's wife grabbed my arm, hissing, "Why isn't your body reacting?" Hello and welcome. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you welcomed into your family with open arms? Someone you defended, supported, and loved like your own daughter? If you've ever felt that knife in your back from family, make sure you stay until the end of this story. Drop a comment telling me if you've experienced something similar, and subscribe if you want more real stories about justice and redemption. Trust me, you're going to want to hear how this ends. My name is Marilyn Voss, and I'm 72 years old. After 43 years of teaching high school English, I was finally retiring. 43 years of shaping young minds, grading papers until midnight, and pouring every ounce of myself into other people's children. I never remarried after my husband died, when Jack was only 7. It was just the two of us against the world, and I gave that boy everything I had. Jack grew up to be a successful architect. Tall, handsome, with his father's dark eyes and my stubborn determination. I was so proud of him. When he met Jenner 5 years ago at some corporate mixer, I was thrilled. Finally, my son had found someone. She was beautiful, blonde, petite, with a smile that could light up a room. At least, that's what I thought at first. The wedding was small but elegant. I paid for half of it, even though Jack insisted I didn't need to. "Mom, you've done enough," he'd said. But what's a mother supposed to do? I wanted him to have the perfect day. Jenner seemed sweet enough back then. She called me Mom Voss and brought me flowers on Mother's Day. She'd hug me tight and tell me how lucky Jack was to have a mother like me. But over the past 2 years, something shifted. It started small. Phone calls that went unanswered. Invitations to dinner that were declined with vague excuses. "Jack's so busy with a new project, Mom. Maybe next month." Next month never came. When I did see them, Jenner's smile seemed tighter, more forced. Her eyes would dart away when I spoke, and she'd find reasons to pull Jack into another room. I tried to talk to Jack about it. "Sweetheart, is everything okay with you too?" Jenner seems distant. He'd wave it off. "Mom, you're imagining things. Jenner loves you. We're just stressed with work, that's all." But a mother knows. A mother always knows when something's wrong. The retirement party was Jack's idea. "Mom, you deserve a proper send-off," he'd insisted over the phone. "Let me and Jenner throw you a party. Invite your teacher friends, the neighbors, everyone. It'll be at our house. Please, let us do this for you." How could I say no? My heart swelled. Maybe I had been imagining things. Maybe Jenner's coldness was truly just stress, and now they wanted to celebrate me properly. The day of the party arrived on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in late September. Their home was stunning, a modern 2-story with floor-to-ceiling windows that Jack had designed himself. When I arrived, the backyard was already decorated with string lights, white tablecloths, and a banner that read, "Congratulations, Marilyn," in elegant script. "Mom," Jack greeted me at the door with a warm hug. He smelled like his father's cologne, the one I'd bought him last Christmas. "You look beautiful." I'd worn my navy blue dress, the one that made me feel younger than my 72 years. "Thank you, sweetheart. This is all so lovely." Jenner appeared behind him, wearing a cream-colored cocktail dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension. "Mom Voss," she said, her voice honey-sweet. "We're so glad you're here. This is your special day." Something about the way she said it made my skin prickle, but I pushed the feeling aside. I was being paranoid. This was a celebration. The guests began arriving. My fellow teachers, my neighbor Dorothy, a few of Jack's colleagues, and Jenner's mother, Patricia. I'd only met Patricia twice before, a thin woman in her early 60s with sharp features and an even sharper tongue. She'd made it clear at the wedding that she thought Jack could have done better than marrying into a family of modest means. I'd let it slide. Not everyone has manners. The party flowed smoothly at first. There were speeches, laughter, a slideshow of my teaching career that made me tear up. Jack stood beside me the whole time, his arm around my shoulders. This was the son I knew. The boy who used to make me breakfast in bed on my birthday, who called me every Sunday without fail until 2 years ago. Then came the dinner. Long tables were set up under the twinkling lights, and catered food was served on white china. I sat at the head table with Jack on my right and Jenner on my left. Patricia sat across from me, next to Jenner, barely acknowledging my presence. "Let me get you a drink, Mom Voss," Jenner said suddenly, standing up with a bright smile. "You haven't had anything but water all evening. Let me make you something special." "Oh, that's sweet of you, dear, but water is fine." "Nonsense," she interrupted, her hand on my shoulder. Her fingers pressed just a little too hard. "It's your party. You deserve a real drink. I make an excellent cocktail. Just sit tight." She disappeared toward the outdoor bar before I could protest. Jack was deep in conversation with one of his colleagues, something about building permits and zoning laws. I smiled politely, half listening, but my attention kept drifting to the bar where Jenner was mixing drinks. That's when I saw it. She was standing with her back partially turned, but I had a clear view between two guests. She poured vodka, added cranberry juice, squeezed a lime. Normal cocktail behavior. But then she paused, glanced around quickly, and pulled something from her clutch, a small vial, no bigger than my thumb. She uncapped it, tilted it over the glass, and a clear liquid dripped in. 1 drop. 2 drops. 3. My heart stopped. She stirred the drink quickly, disposed of the vial back in her clutch, and turned with that same bright smile plastered across her face. I've taught teenagers for over 4 decades. I've caught students cheating, lying, stealing. I know guilt when I see it. And I know danger when it's walking toward me carrying a poison drink. "Here you go, Mom Voss," Jenner said, setting the glass down in front of me with a gentle clink. "Cape Cod, extra lime, just the way I remember you liking it." I'd never told her I liked Cape Cods. In fact, I rarely drank at all. "Thank you, sweetheart," I said, my voice steady despite my racing pulse. "How thoughtful." She watched me. Waited. Her blue eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my stomach turn. I lifted the glass slightly, as if to take a sip, then set it back down. "Actually, could you grab me a napkin first? I think I got lipstick on the rim." "Of course," she said, though her jaw tightened slightly. The moment she turned away, I acted. Patricia's wine glass sat directly across from me, barely touched. In one smooth motion, I switched them. My cocktail went to Patricia's spot. Her wine came to mine. Jenna returned with a napkin, her eyes immediately dropping to the glass in front of me, now filled with red wine instead of pink cocktail. Confusion flickered across her face, just for a second. "Changed your mind?" she asked carefully. "Oh, Patricia and I decided to swap," I lied smoothly, loud enough for Patricia to hear. "She wanted to try the cocktail you made, and I've been craving wine all evening." "You don't mind, do you?" Patricia looked up, startled, staring at the pink drink now in front of her. Well, I suppose." "Thank you for being so flexible," I continued, raising my wine glass toward her. "To new experiences." Jenner's smile never wavered, but something dark flashed behind her eyes. Patricia, oblivious and probably eager to seem agreeable in front of guests, lifted the poisoned cocktail to her lips. "To retirement," she said, and took a long sip. If only I knew what horror was about to unfold in the next 5 minutes. But at that moment, all I felt was cold, calculating clarity. Because I knew exactly what my daughter-in-law had just tried to do. And I was going to make sure everyone else knew it too. What would you have done in my position? Tell me in the comments below. And if you want to know what happened next, keep listening because the truth gets so much darker. For about 90 seconds, nothing happened. Patricia set down the glass and continued eating her salmon, completely unaware. Jenner sat rigid beside me, her knuckles white as she gripped her fork. I could feel her tension radiating like heat off asphalt in summer. I took a casual sip of my wine, Patricia's wine, and watched Jenner from the corner of my eye. She kept glancing at me, then at her mother, then back at me. Waiting. Calculating. I could almost see the wheels turning in her head, trying to figure out what went wrong. Then Patricia's fork clattered against her plate. I don't feel well, she said, her voice suddenly weak. She pressed a hand to her stomach, her face going pale. Jenner, I think I... Her words cut off as she lurched forward, gasping. Her chair scraped backward as she tried to stand, but her legs buckled. She collapsed sideways, hitting the grass with a horrible thud. Chaos erupted instantly. Mom, Jenner screamed, jumping up. But I noticed something. She didn't rush to her mother's side. She stood there, frozen, staring at Patricia's convulsing body with an expression I couldn't quite read. Shock? Horror? Or something else entirely? Jack bolted from his seat. Someone call 911. He dropped to his knees beside Patricia, rolling her onto her side as foam began forming at the corners of her mouth. My teaching instincts kicked in. I'd been trained in first aid for decades. This wasn't a heart attack or a stroke. This was poisoning. What did she eat? Jack demanded, looking around wildly. What did she drink? The cocktail, I said quietly, still seated, still holding my wine glass. The one Jenner made. Every head turned toward me. The entire party had gone silent except for Patricia's horrible gasping sounds. Jenner's face whipped in my direction, her blue eyes wide with something that looked a lot like panic. What are you talking about? I made that drink for you. She stopped herself, but it was too late. The words hung in the air like poison themselves. Exactly, I said, standing slowly. My voice carried across the backyard with the same authority I'd used to quiet rowdy classrooms. You made that drink for me, but I gave it to Patricia. We switched, remember? Jack stared at his wife, then at me, his face a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. Mom, what are you saying? I reached into my small clutch and pulled out my phone. I'd been recording video since the moment Jenner walked back from the bar with my drink. My finger had hit the record button the second I saw her pull out that vial. I'm saying that your wife put something in my drink, and I have proof. I turned the phone around, and everyone close enough leaned in. The video was shaky but clear enough. Jenner at the bar, looking around, pulling the vial from her clutch, adding drops to the pink cocktail, stirring quickly. The gasps that rippled through the crowd were audible even over Patricia's labored breathing. That's not. Jenner stammered, backing away. Then suddenly, she lunged toward me, grabbing my arm with surprising strength. Her fingernails dug into my skin as she yanked me close, her face inches from mine. Why isn't your body reacting? She hissed, her voice low and venomous, meant only for me.
You should be on the ground right now.
You should be. I smiled. I actually smiled. Because in that moment, she'd confirmed everything. Because I knew exactly what you tried to do, I said softly, just for her. I saw you. And I made sure you'd have to watch your own mother suffer the fate you planned for me. Her face contorted with rage and something else, fear. Real, genuine fear. Jack pulled Jenner away from me, his face pale with shock. Jenner, what the hell is going on? Did you actually try to poison my mother?
No.
She's lying. She's a crazy old woman who's been jealous of me since the day we met. Jenner's voice rose to a shriek. She switched the drinks to frame me. She poisoned my mother. But it was too late. Dorothy, my neighbor, had her phone out too. I saw her at the bar, Dorothy said, her voice shaking. I saw her put something in that glass. I thought it was just a vitamin supplement or something, but oh my God. The sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Someone had called 911. Jenner looked around wildly, seeing the crowd turn against her. Every face showed disgust, horror, betrayal. Jack stood between us now, staring at his wife like he'd never seen her before. Jack, please, Jenner begged, reaching for him. You know me. You know I would never. I don't know you at all, he whispered, taking a step back. How could you? How could you try to kill my mother? The paramedics arrived, rushing to Patricia's side. They worked quickly, asking questions, loading her onto a stretcher. One of them, a young woman with kind eyes, approached me. Ma'am, what did she ingest? A cocktail, I said calmly, with something added to it. I have video evidence of what was put in the drink. 2 police officers had arrived with the ambulance. I showed them the video. Showed them Jenner's clutch, which she was now trying to hide behind her back. One officer carefully took it from her while the other began asking questions. Inside the clutch, they found the vial. Still half full. Clear liquid that smelled faintly chemical. "Ma'am, you're going to need to come with us," the officer said to Jenner. "This is insane," Jenner screamed. "She set me up. That crazy old hag switched the drinks on purpose to make me look guilty." "So you admit you put something in the drink intended for Mrs. Voss?" the officer asked, pulling out handcuffs. Jenner's face went from red to white in an instant. She trapped herself with her own words. As they led her away, she turned back one last time, her eyes locking with mine. The mask had completely fallen now. There was pure hatred in that gaze, cold, calculated, murderous hatred. "You have no idea what you've done," she spat. "You have no idea what's coming." I stood there, surrounded by my shocked guests, my son staring at me like I was a stranger, and I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Because I didn't know what I'd done. I'd just saved my own life. But what I didn't know yet, what none of us knew, was why she'd wanted me dead in the first place. And trust me, when I found out the truth, it was so much worse than I could have ever imagined. The party ended in a blur of police statements and shocked whispers. Patricia was rushed to the hospital, her condition critical but stable. The doctors said if they'd arrived 5 minutes later, she would have died. The substance in the vial? A concentrated dose of a prescription sedative mixed with something else, something the toxicology report was still analyzing. Jack couldn't look at me for the rest of that night. Not with anger, but with something far more painful, confusion and guilt. After everyone left, after the police finished their questions, after the catering staff packed up the uneaten cake, we sat in his living room in heavy silence. "Mom," he finally said, his voice cracking. "How did you know?" I told him everything. The distance over the past 2 years. Jenner's coldness. The way she'd insisted on making me that specific drink. The vial I'd seen her use. "But why?" he asked, his head in his hands. "Why would she want to kill you? What did you ever do to her?" "I don't know, sweetheart. But I intend to find out." That's when his phone buzzed. A text message. He glanced at it, and his face went pale. "It's from Jenner's lawyer," he whispered. "She wants to talk to me. Alone. At the police station." "Don't go," I said immediately. But Jack shook his head. "I have to. I need to understand what's happening. I need to hear it from her." Against my better judgment, I let him go. And while he was gone, I did what any former English teacher with too much time and a working knowledge of Google would do. I started digging into Jenner's past. I'd never really questioned her background before. She told us she grew up in Oregon, went to college in California, worked in marketing. Her parents were divorced, her father out of the picture. Patricia was her only family. It all seemed normal enough. But as I scrolled through social media, through old articles, through LinkedIn profiles, something caught my eye. A news article from 7 years ago. A small piece in an Oregon newspaper. Local woman cleared in boyfriend's suspicious death. My stomach turned. Jack, who is Dee? My blood ran cold as I read. The woman's name was Jennifer Holbrook, not Jenner Hall, the name she'd gone by when Jack met her. The article described how her boyfriend of 3 years had died suddenly from what appeared to be an accidental overdose of sleeping medication. Jennifer had been questioned, but never charged. The case was ruled inconclusive. The photo accompanying the article was grainy, but it was unmistakably her. Same blonde hair, same sharp features, same smile. My hands trembled as I kept searching. There was more. Another article from 9 years ago in a different state. A wealthy elderly man she'd been caring for as a private nurse had died, leaving her a substantial sum in his will. His children contested it, claiming she'd manipulated him, but the case was settled out of court.
Pattern.
This wasn't a one-time mistake or a moment of passion. This was a pattern. Jack came home 2 hours later, his face ashen. He collapsed onto the couch beside me and didn't speak for a full minute. "She's pregnant," he finally whispered. My heart stopped. What? She told me at the station. 3 months pregnant. She said. He swallowed hard. She said that's why she did it. She said you were going to ruin everything. I don't understand. Jack pulled out his phone and showed me a series of text messages. Messages I'd never seen before. Messages between Jenner and someone named Dee. The old woman is becoming a problem.
She's too involved.
She'll figure it out eventually. Once she's gone, the inheritance is ours. He doesn't suspect a thing. Make it look natural. We can't afford mistakes. Her ex-husband, Jack said, his voice hollow. Except he's not her ex. They never divorced. She's been married this whole time, Mom. Our entire marriage is a fraud. The room spun. What inheritance is she talking about? Jack's laugh was bitter and broken.
Yours.
She thought you had money. Real money. When I told her about your retirement fund, about the pension, about the life insurance policy that lists me as beneficiary, she assumed it was a fortune. She thought you were wealthy and just living modestly. But I'm not, I said, stunned. It's comfortable, but it's not. I know that. You know that. But she didn't care to check. She built this entire scheme around a fantasy. He showed me more texts. Plans to kill me, make it look like natural causes at my own retirement party, then support Jack through his grief while bleeding his inheritance dry. Then she and Dee would disappear together, leaving Jack with nothing. The baby? I whispered. Probably not even mine, Jack said, and I watched my son, my strong, successful son, break down in tears. She's been playing me from the beginning. Every smile, every I love you, every time she called you Mom Voss, it was all an act. She married me to get to you. I held him while he sobbed, this grown man reduced to the little boy who'd cried in my arms when his father died. But unlike then, I couldn't promise him everything would be okay. Because this betrayal cut deeper than death. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You should have drunk the cocktail, Marilyn. Now things get messy. Tell Jack to check his bank accounts. Oh, and you might want to look in your garage. We left you a present.
Dee.
Jack saw my face and grabbed the phone. What the hell? We rushed to my house. I'd insisted on keeping my small home, even though Jack had offered to buy me something bigger. As we pulled into the driveway, something felt wrong. The garage door was slightly open. I never left it open. Jack grabbed a flashlight from his car and approached carefully. I followed behind, my heart pounding. Inside the garage, written across the wall in red spray paint, were the words, "Dead women don't collect pensions." But that wasn't the worst part. Scattered across the floor were photographs. Dozens of them. Pictures of me. At the grocery store. At the doctor's office. At my favorite coffee shop. Walking out of school on my last day of work. They'd been watching me for months. Jack called the police immediately, but as we waited in my driveway, I realized something that made my blood freeze. This wasn't over. Jenner was in custody, but Dee was still out there. And whoever he was escalating. The police arrived within minutes, but I barely heard their questions. My mind was racing, trying to piece together who Dee could be. Someone close enough to know our routines. Someone who had access to Jenner's plans. Someone we'd never suspect. Then Jack's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. It's Detective Morrison. They're at the station with Jenner. He answered, putting it on speaker. Mr. Voss, we have a situation, the detective's voice crackled through. Your wife is asking for immunity in exchange for information. She says there's an immediate threat to your mother's life, and she'll only talk if we make a deal. What kind of threat? Jack demanded. She won't say. But Mr. Voss, she seems genuinely terrified. Whatever she's involved in, I don't think she's the one in control anymore. Jack and I exchanged glances. Against the officer's advice, we drove to the police station. They put us in an observation room where we could see Jenner through one-way glass. She looked nothing like the polished woman from the party. Her makeup was smeared, her dress wrinkled, and her hands shook as she clutched a paper cup of water. When they brought Jack into the interrogation room, I watched through the glass as my son faced his wife. Tell me who Dee is, Jack said, his voice cold. Jenner's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. He said it would be simple. He said she'd just go to sleep and not wake up. Painless. Quick. When they brought Jack into the interrogation room, I watched through the glass as my son faced his wife. Tell me who Dee is, Jack said, his voice cold. Jenner's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. He said it would be simple. He said she'd just go to sleep and not wake up. Painless.
Quick.
Who is he? Jenner took a shaking breath. His name is David. David Reeves. He was my husband before you. We never divorced because he was in prison for fraud. He got out 8 months ago. My mind flashed back. 8 months ago was when Jenner's behavior toward me had changed completely. He found me, she continued, threatened to expose our marriage unless I helped him. He'd been researching your family, and he became obsessed with the idea that your mother was sitting on a fortune. He wouldn't listen when I told him she wasn't wealthy. He'd convinced himself that she was hiding money, that teachers had secret pensions worth millions, that her modest lifestyle was just a cover. So, you decided to murder her? Jack's voice broke. I didn't have a choice. He said if I didn't help him, he'd destroy everything. He'd tell you about our marriage, ruin my life. And then he started threatening you too, Jack. He said if I didn't cooperate, you'd be next. Through the glass, I watched Jack's hands clench into fists. Where is he now? I don't know. He was supposed to wait for my signal after it happened. But when everything went wrong, when your mother survived, I tried calling him. He's not answering. He sent that text to scare her, but I don't know where he is or what he's planning. Detective Morrison entered the interrogation room. Mrs. Voss, or should I say Mrs. Reeves, we've been tracking David's known associates. We have reason to believe he's already left the state. No, Jenner said suddenly, her face going white. No, he wouldn't leave. Not without the money he thinks exists. He's too obsessed. He'll try again. That's when my phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number.
Marilyn, I'm disappointed.
I had plans for that pension money, but you forced my hand. Since you won't die quietly, I'll have to settle for the next best thing. Tell Jack his architectural firm's server just received some interesting files. Check your email. Jack's phone dinged simultaneously. He pulled it out, his face draining of color as he read. Mom, he sent fabricated documents to my entire client list. Fake emails that make it look like I've been embezzling from projects. My reputation, my entire career. It hit me then. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about destruction. David couldn't get what he wanted, so he was going to take everything from us instead. But he'd made one critical mistake. Detective, I said, stepping into the interrogation room. Everyone turned to look at me. I know where he is. Jenner's eyes widened.
How?
Because he's not just obsessed with money. He's obsessed with control. With winning. I pulled up the photos from my garage on my phone. Look at these pictures. They're all taken during the day. Weekdays. The last one was taken on my final day of work, last Thursday at 3:47 p.m. I know because the clock tower is visible in the background. So, Detective Morrison asked, so David was stalking me during business hours, which means he either doesn't have a job or he works somewhere with flexible hours. Somewhere he could watch me without being noticed. I turned to Jenner. Where did you meet with him? Where did you plan this? She hesitated, then whispered. The coffee shop. The one near the school.
He worked there part-time.
He started a month after he got out of prison. My coffee shop. The one I'd gone to every single day for the past 5 years. The place where everyone knew my order. And suddenly I remembered. The new barista who'd started last spring. Friendly. Helpful. Always asking questions about my day, my retirement plans, my son. Dark hair, kind eyes, warm smile. His name tag had read Dave. He's still there, I said with certainty. He's been there the whole time, waiting for his next opportunity. The police moved fast. Within 20 minutes, they had the coffee shop surrounded. I watched from a patrol car as they brought him out in handcuffs. Dave, the smiling barista who'd made my cappuccinos and listened to my stories and planned my murder. As they walked him past our car, he turned and looked directly at me.
No smile now.
Just cold, calculating rage. But I'd won.
And he knew it.
Patricia survived, though her relationship with Jenner never recovered. Jenner took a plea deal and is serving 15 years. David got 25. Jack and I spent the next year rebuilding his reputation, his trust, our relationship. The divorce was finalized last month. Jack's dating again. Carefully this time. And me? I'm enjoying my retirement exactly as I planned, on my terms, with my family safe. That day at the retirement party, I learned something important. Trust your instincts. Pay attention. And never, ever drink a cocktail you didn't watch being made. Because sometimes, the people who smile the brightest are hiding the darkest intentions. So tell me honestly, do you think I was too harsh for switching that drink and letting Patricia suffer? Or did Jenner deserve to face the consequences of her actions? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure you subscribe for more real stories about justice, betrayal, and survival. Thanks for being here with me today.
Until next time.